Welcome to our channel. Today's video is about how to think critically, but not in a boring lecture style. It's delivered as a story that follows a character named Maya, who learns to think for herself in a world full of misinformation, pressure, and fast conclusions. Maya woke to the buzz of her phone and the bright blue of a headline that promised quick success. It said in bold letters and a shaky video clip beneath it that a single trick could change how you think and guarantee you always win an argument. Her thumb hovered. For a moment, she wanted to tap and watch the clip from start to finish, to feel that quick rush of certainty the headline offered. Instead, she set the phone face down and walked to the kitchen. She brewed tea. She watched the steam climb and fade, and she felt the pull of the headline like a knot in her mind. So small, so sharp. That morning, she would meet her friend Omar at the library. Omar loved puzzles and questions. He kept a little notebook where he wrote strange facts and the questions they raised. When Maya arrived, she found him flipping through an old book of essays, underlining sentences with a calm, slow rhythm. He looked up and smiled. "You look like you carried a storm in," he said. Maya put her phone on the table and told him about the video. Omar did not laugh. He sipped his tea and said, "Show me." They watched the clip together. The speaker promised a mental shortcut to always catch lies, a small set of mental moves that would make anyone undefeatable in debate. The voice on screen moved fast and sounded certain. Graphs flickered. A friend of the speaker nodded. At the end, there was an invitation to a course. When the clip froze, Omar asked one small question. Why would someone sell this? The question felt ordinary, but it opened a door. Maya realized the clip made her want something. Speed, power, certainty. That wanting changed the shape of the whole message. When you want an answer quickly, you are easy to convince. A simple question, why, was a tiny tool. It kept her from sliding with the crowd. That afternoon, they walked through the old part of town, where the market spilled color into the streets. A vendor shouted about a new herbal tea that cured sleeplessness. An older woman stopped and listened. The vendor's voice was smooth and practiced. He used the names of studies he did not actually explain. Maya thought of the video and the voice. She listened instead of believing. "What do you think?" Omar asked. Maya felt clumsy explaining why she felt unsure. She pushed her mind like a pebble in a stream and watched it spin. She remembered a sentence from a book. "Facts are like stones. We build bridges with them. But if the stones are the wrong size, the bridge falls." She began to ask more questions, softly, like a rhythm repeating. Who made this claim? What could show it's true? What does it leave out? Who benefits if people believe it? Omar pulled out his notebook and wrote 2 words, pause and check. He did not write them as a rule to follow forever, but like a reminder you tuck into your pocket. Pause, check. The words were small and simple, easy to remember. Maya liked them because they did not promise power, only care. They asked for a moment before action. Over the next weeks, Maya practiced pausing. When a friend sent a forward, claiming a celebrity had said something shocking, she paused. When her cousin shared an article with a headline that made her furious, she paused. She found that the pause smoothed her edges. It gave her the space to breathe and to think. One night, Maya sat with a stack of old newspapers in a corner of the library. She liked the smell of newsprint. She wanted to see patterns. Old stories showed how facts changed shape over time. What reporters wrote on day one often shifted as new information arrived. That truth surprised her. Certainty is often temporary. Even experts revised their views. That did not mean no one knew anything. It meant knowing was a process, not a final state. She learned another small thing from a teacher named Mr. Khan, who taught philosophy in a careful, patient way. Mr. Khan told them that thinking is work, not magic. You cannot sweep your mind clean with one trick, he said. You build tools. Tools take practice. He described a simple habit. When you hear a claim, you ask 3 plain questions without speaking them out loud. What is the claim? Why should I believe it? What else could be true? The questions felt clinical at first, and then they felt alive. Maya tried them on small things, advertisements, conversations, even the weather forecast. Sometimes the answers were obvious. Often they were not. At a bus stop one afternoon, a student named Farah argued loudly that a certain diet was the only safe way to live. People around them nodded like a flock. Farah's voice was fierce and full of data, shouted from memory. Maya felt the crowd's heat and the pressure to join. She walked closer and listened. Farah mixed studies from different years and different conditions. She used one bright example, like a lamp, to hide shadows. Maya thought of Mr. Khan's questions. What is the claim? This diet alone is safe. Why should I believe it? Farah named experts, but not details. What else could be true? Maybe some people need different diets. Maybe the diet helps some, but harms others. Maya did not attack. She asked Farah a single question about the study she had mentioned. A gentle one about how big the study was and who sponsored it. Farah's face changed. She had not asked these questions herself. The crowd's certainty loosened, not because Maya had the final answer, but because she had asked questions that made space for more thinking. That night, Maya wrote in a small notebook she now carried. She wrote the short sentence that had become a quiet companion. Asking changes things. When a person speaks, their words are tidy. When you ask, their words unpack and show seams. Questions are simple tools that let you see how the world is held together. Months passed, and Maya's life filled with moments that tested her new habits. A political ad on television promised safety if everyone voted one way. A glamorous post on social media presented a life perfected and only showed the most luminous pieces. A teacher at university gave a lecture and stated facts without naming the limits of the studies. Each time, Maya practiced the same soft moves: pause, ask, check, compare. She learned to find the source of a claim, not the flashy headline, but the person who first said it. If the source was vague, a researcher says, or studies show, she looked deeper. Vague sources were like fog. They made things seem widespread without proving anything. Reliable sources named names, methods, and limits. They told how they measured things. Maya did not need to become an expert in every subject. She only needed to notice when someone else was hiding what they did not know. Once, a class debate turned fierce. 2 groups argued about the benefits of a new technology. One side waved numbers like weapons. The other side used stories. Maya sat in the middle, feeling both tempted to shout and tired of shouting. She thought of a small story her grandmother used to tell about a tailor who cut fabric without measuring. The tailor's clothes looked fine until the first rain. Measurements save you from that rain. Maya learned to ask about the method beneath the numbers. How were those numbers made? Who chose what to count? Who was left out? Numbers are tools for making sense. They are not sense itself. A single number can mean very different things depending on how you arrive at it. When the group read their studies, Maya noticed that the samples were small, where the questions asked were leading, or the results were presented as more certain than they were. It did not mean the researchers were dishonest. Often they had done their best. It meant their results had edges. The edges mattered. She developed another habit, not with words, but with practice. When a claim felt comfortable, like a warm sweater, she checked whether her comfort came from evidence or from old habits and stories she had learned at home or online. Comfort can be a sneaky teacher. It tells you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. Sometimes the beliefs you hold are a map of your past, not a map of the present. That realization felt both heavy and freeing. One evening, a message arrived from a friend who was distraught. The friend had believed something about a mutual acquaintance and had confronted them. The acquaintance denied it. The friend wanted an answer, and quickly. Maya sat with her friend and felt the old rush to resolve things immediately. She had felt that rush many times. It had led to broken trust before. She suggested pausing, not to delay justice, but to allow evidence to appear. She told her friend to ask direct questions and to listen without planning a counter. Listening changed the room. It made space for truth. Maya's new habits did not make her perfect. She still felt the pull of certainty. She made mistakes. Once she judged someone unfairly because a headline had framed them in a single light. She apologized and listened. Those mistakes taught her humility. Thinking critically is not a shield of righteousness. It is a tool that helps you find the best position in a messy world. The story of how she learned to think reached a sharp turn when a rumor moved through their town like a slow wildfire. It began with a photo, then a caption, then 1,000 shares. The rumor accused a small business owner of wrongdoing. People shouted online. Shop windows emptied. The owner was stunned. Maya felt the heat of the crowd again. She had seen how screenshots and quick posts could build a mountain of certainty out of fragile clay. She decided to step into that mountain with her small, steady questions. She found a local reporter who had been trying to verify the photo. The reporter showed her the original file and the metadata. The picture was old and from a different place. Someone had cropped it and written a new caption. Facts were not the whole story. The editing was part of the claim. Maya helped connect the reporter with the owner. Slowly, as more people checked and shared the clearer facts, the story unraveled. The business reopened. The crowd moved on, as crowds do. The owner thanked Maya, but she felt the thanks belonged to a habit. The habit of not accepting things at face value and using simple tools to find truth. Throughout this time, Maya noticed a change in how she spoke. Her sentences became calm. When she disagreed, she described what she saw and why. When she was unsure, she said so. Saying, "I'm not sure," lost its shame. It became an honest opening and invited better conversation. People listened more when she admitted doubt. Admitting doubt does not show weakness. It shows a desire to learn. A turning point came when a local group invited her to speak about misinformation. She felt the old fear, what if she was wrong? But she remembered Mr. Khan's voice, Omar's notebook, and the image of steam rising from tea. She agreed. She did not bring a list of rules. Instead, she told a story about a single day when she had almost believed a lie that would have hurt many people. She spoke in plain words about the moment she paused, about how she asked, and how she found the source of the claim. She told the audience about the bus stop and the diet, the viral clip, the market vendor, the damaged business. Her voice was simple and steady. People leaned forward. In the middle of her talk, she said something small and true. Thinking is like learning to ride a bicycle. When you start, you wobble, you fall. But each time you wobble, you learn what balance feels like. At first, you need the teacher's hand. Later, you ride without thinking of it. That image, wobble and hand, and then freedom, stuck with the audience. Stories stick in the mind because they tie ideas to feeling. The bicycle example was not a point to check off a list. It was a living thing that showed how practice matters. After the talk, a student came up to her and asked, "How do you know when you are biased?" Maya thought of a time her own bias had blinded her. She told the student how she used to prefer stories that made her feel good. She told about the teacher who challenged her and how she had to admit she was protecting her own hope. She explained in simple words that bias often felt like a tug toward what comforts you. The tug was not always bad. It was human. But noticing the tug, naming it, gave you the chance to step back and view the claim from another side. Maya found herself learning new things from people she had not expected to. A mechanic explained to her how to check a car's oil. Look at the dipstick, wipe it, reinsert it, and check again. The mechanic's patience was practical and exact. It reminded her to test again when something looked true at first glance. A chef showed her how a dish could taste different when you changed one small ingredient. Small changes matter. They reveal cause and effect. Her thinking changed, not just how she judged others, but how she learned from them. She discovered that people who disagreed with her sometimes had different experiences that made their view sensible. That realization did not mean she had to accept all views as equally true. It taught her to separate the person from the idea. She could respect a human being while analyzing a claim. Respect did not mean surrender. One afternoon, she faced a difficult choice. A job offer in a new city promised prestige, but also required compromises that would change how she lived. The decision came with all the old temptations: quick certainty, the fear of missing out, the pressure to choose now. She used the habits she had built. She paused. She wrote down what she knew and what she did not know. She sought different viewpoints. She asked people who had made similar moves about what the reality had been. She tested her assumptions by imagining the smallest details of each life: what her daily morning would look like, who she would visit, how much she would miss the rhythms of her current town. The act of slowing down turned the abstract decision into a series of concrete images. That clarity helped her choose in a way that felt honest. Years later, when Maya thought back, she realized that critical thinking had never been a single trick. It was a life of small practices: pausing, asking, checking, testing, and listening. It lived in the quiet moments when she chose the slower route over the fast comfort of certainty. It showed up when she admitted she might be wrong. It showed up when she shared what she knew and how she had found it. Her story was not a tidy list of rules. It was a set of habits, like the daily folding of clothes. Small actions repeated until they become part of you. They did not make her immune to error. They made error a teacher instead of a shame. She learned to repair mistakes. When she had hurt someone by a quick judgment, she apologized and explained what she had learned. Repair deepened trust. It did not erase mistakes, but it made the future less likely to repeat them. Maya came to understand that facts are not the only important thing. Values mattered. She cared about truth because truth made better choices possible. She cared about fairness because it made lives better. She cared about humility because it kept her open to change. These values guided how she used her tools. Tools without values can become instruments of harm. Like a rope they can pull a person to the wrong side. Values give direction. One night, she sat with Omar under the same flickering street lamp where they had first talked months ago. They watched the traffic slide by like an unsteady river. Omar said, "You changed." She laughed, "I wobble less." He took a long look and said, "You also make it easier for others to wobble." She realized he was right. Her calm questions, the way she admitted doubt, the moments she had stepped in to check a rumor, all of that had helped other people slow down. Critical thinking spread, not because she taught rules, but because she modeled a practice. People remembered her stories more than her words. Stories carry emotional weight, a line they could replay, like the bicycle image or the steaming cup of tea, stuck in their minds and nudged them to act differently. When people asked Maya to coach a group of young workers or to speak at a school, she told the same small stories: the vendor, the bus stop, the viral clip, the ruined shop, the bike wobble. She did not offer magic. She shared ordinary moves that anyone could do. She stressed one quiet truth: thinking well is a habit, and habits grow when you use them. In the last scene of her story, Maya stood before a small mirror and asked herself a question she had once feared. What would you do if you were wrong? The mirror showed her face, the same but lined with less hurry. She answered out loud, not to anyone else, but to the person she was becoming. "I will learn. I will repair. I will change." Saying those words made them real. This story does not end with a certificate of mastery or a single piece of advice that will cure confusion forever. It ends with practice. If you remember one thing from Maya's life, let it be a small, steady habit. When a claim tugs at you, pause. Ask who benefits and who is named. Check the source and imagine the limits. Compare different views and test your assumptions. Speak plainly about what you know and what you do not. Listen when someone else is uncertain. Repair when you are wrong. Thinking critically is not a sword to win arguments. It is a lamp to help you see. It makes conversations cleaner, choices clearer, and mistakes teachable. It is patient work that pays in quieter confidence and deeper trust. Maya's story shows how small moves build a life where truth matters because it helps us live better with each other. She learned that the point is not to be right all the time, but to be willing to follow the evidence, to change direction when the facts shift, and to treat others with respect while doing so. When the next viral claim appears on your screen, you may feel the same tug Maya once felt. You will not need to be perfect. You will need only to pause, to ask, and to look. Over time, those small tools become the hand at your back when you wobble. They keep you balanced. They let you ride further,